Welcome back to the Karen Cave. It's that time of the year when you never know when you're going to have some unexpected guests drop into the house and want to sit around and chit chat and just maybe hang around, and you don't have anything really fun to serve them. So today I'm going to do something fun with one of these cooking pumpkins. I found these in the produce section of a grocery store. And I thought, well, gosh, that's really a great idea. Instead of buying a pumpkin pie that's made from the pumpkin that's already in the can, or even a frozen pumpkin pie, why not make your own? And the recipe on it, it actually came with a recipe. It's super simple. So I want to take you through that, show you how to make that, and I can also show you how to make a 3-step. You have 1 1/4 cups of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and you've got 1/3 cup of butter or lard or margarine that you can use, and just some ice cold water that we're going to make our own homemade pie crust with. So completely homemade. I hope our guests will enjoy this. I don't know. We'll let them speak to that themselves, but we're going to get started on this. The pumpkin pie has got some great spices, some cinnamon, some cloves, some allspice and some nutmeg, some brown sugar, a couple of eggs, and some fresh milk from the dairy. So let's get started. Okay, so when you're getting ready to clean your pumpkin out and cut it so we can bake the pumpkin, to get this part of the pumpkin baked, just like you actually would bake any squash, you want to make sure that you've got all of this cleaned out really good. I cut the lid off first, you can see, and then I cut the pumpkin in half, and then I cleaned this out really good. And sometimes you're going to have to really scrape this pretty hard to get all of that nasty, gnarly guts out of there. So I did also put some olive oil on the top of this, and I'm going to turn these down, face down or cut way down, and I'm going to put these in an oven at 400 for about 30 minutes to cook the pumpkin that we're going to use in our recipe. So again, make sure you clean those out really good. You got to really scrape them to get them really clean inside, but that's what you want. And we're going to put these in the oven, and then we're going to start adding our other ingredients together. See you soon. Okay, to get us started, the first thing that we're going to do is take a 9-inch pie dish like this. Can be glass, or some people even use like a tin one if they want to be able to give this away. This is basically a 2-quart pie dish, and we're going to make our pie crust for that. So I started with 1 1/4 cups of flour and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then I took 1/3 cup of margarine that I'm going to use here, and I sliced it up. It is cold. It's right out of the refrigerator. That's how you want it. It's kind of like when we did our biscuits. We took the lard and we worked it into the flour. So that's the same thing that we're going to want to do here. And then we're going to take some ice cold water. I filled this up with 1 cup of ice, and then I added water to it. We want everything to be nice and cold, and then we're going to roll that dough out and put it into our pie pan, and we'll have that ready for our pumpkin mixture, our pumpkin custard that we're going to put in there, and have such a wonderful pumpkin pie for our friends that are here with us today. So let's get started on this. I'm going to take this this butter and just add it to it, and then I'm going to go ahead and work this in to it, and then I will add the water to it and roll it out. So I'm going to speed things up here for us and get this pie crust all made for us. So stand by. We've got our pie crust all put together, and I'm going to stick this into the refrigerator until I get my pumpkin custard made, and that way we can add that to it and keep this nice and cool to bake. After we cleaned that pumpkin and got it all nice and clean and put it in the oven at 400 for about 15-20 minutes. You can kind of see on this pumpkin here how you can tell when it's done. Of course, it's nice, got a nice golden brown, but also the skin, you can see if I'm pushing it here, it kind of lifts itself away from the pumpkin and gets really soft. So then you'll know that it's like this. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to scoop out 2 cups of this pumpkin, and we're going to begin to make the custard. So yes, beautiful, and it also smells great. This can be served absolutely as a side dish. Whatever leftover you have, put some cinnamon, some nutmeg, and some butter on it, and super fall taste there. And I don't know about those guys, but they don't probably like this, so more for me. So stick with me, I'm gonna be right back and we're gonna start making the custard. So let's get started making our custard. The first thing we need to do is we need to remove all bad ghouls from this recipe. Good Lord. I told you you'd never know who would show up. So we're gonna start with beating 2 eggs in our blender here. And then we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. And as we begin to add these spices to this custard, it is going to completely start to smell like fall. And then we're going to go ahead and add 3/4 firmly cupped brown sugar to our recipe. Add that, get that beaten up. We give the old Sunbeam a little more energy here, a little faster speed to get those eggs and the sugar, and get that really beat up well. And then we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, I'm getting low on my cinnamon, I'm going to have to get some more. And then we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. Don't you know this is starting to smell good? Excuse me, but I need to get a spatula. I hope I'm not disturbing you this afternoon. Take it easy. Rest up. That was my friend back there getting Nancy to have some pumpkin pie. So get all these spices mixed in here. And then we're going to add 1½ cups of cold milk. That mixed in really well with all of your spices. And then we're going to add the 2 cups of cooked pumpkin. And it's funny because in the recipe they call it cooked squash. But when you look at pumpkin, acorn squash, butternut squash, zucchinis, they all call them a squash. So we'll start to add in our pumpkin here to our recipe. Get it mixed in. So So again, that was 2 cups of squash. Get that really well beaten into the mixture. You see it's coming together. Make sure I got that pumpkin mixed in really nice. It's made a nice custard for our pie filling. You can see all the yummy spices in between. I'm going to beat this just a little bit more. Let's get that pumpkin mixed in with it. And as that's beating, I'm going to go ahead and get my cold pie tin out of the oven, and then we will add this to it. So I'll be right back. Got our nice cold pie crust fresh out of the refrigerator. I was going to say oven, not oven. We've been keeping it in the refrigerator while we've mixed up this custard, and I'm going to pour the custard that we just made with the pumpkin and the eggs and milk and allspice and cinnamon, nutmeg and cloves, and a little bit of salt. And now we will put this in the oven and bake it for 10 minutes at 425, and the remaining time that we will bake this will be at 350 until the custard begins to set. So here we go. I'm going to get it into the old chamber stove, and this guy better watch out for his feet on that stove. We'll be back when we're finished cooking our pie. I think we're at a good point. We can check our pumpkin pie. I think it's almost ready. The custard was getting thick the last time I checked it. And I think we're at a really good stopping point. And I think, yeah, we are completely done. So take a look at that beautiful pumpkin pie. The custard's set up so beautifully. Make sure that you let it cool completely before you serve it. Well, as you can see, you know who is still here, and I think waiting for something to eat. So my pumpkin pie, it turned out amazing. Oh my gosh, it's cooled. It's nice and thick. The custard's nice and thick. So I sliced up a piece, and I'm gonna take a bite, and I topped it off with a little whipping cream, and just want to get a taste of it. I don't know if I want to share it or not, so anyhow. Something really tastes like fall. There is no bones about this recipe. You've got to try it. It's so easy. Get yourself a little cooking pumpkin and get some spices and whip it up and cook it. Until next time, happy cooking. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you for joining me in the Karen Cave. I really enjoy sharing my family recipes with you, and I hope you'll continue to come back. Please subscribe to my page and give me a thumbs up for those that you like. I look forward to next time. Until then, happy cooking.